And we don't just give them a place to stay and food to eat. We also give them a place for their soul to rest. Hello, I am Brother Francisco Whitaker, and this is All Good in the Brotherhood. Before we get to today's topic, just a quick announcement. Make sure to keep coming back and checking for updates on our next live stream, which will be very soon. That will also include a big announcement for the channel. We're going to be moving in some really cool directions, and we have a lot of fun things to share with you. So make sure you keep a lookout on the posts for the date and the time for that live stream. Also, starting this Saturday, January 18th, I will begin releasing a 7-part series on monasticism and the 7 deadly sins to help understand and how you can come to learn to battle temptation and to grow in freedom from vice and sin as the Benedictine fathers and monks of old would teach their disciples. So, if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you come back every Saturday. So, Charisms. What is the Benedictine charism? What is the charism of monks at St. Vincent? Those are 2 questions I get all of the time. And particularly recently, I was at the Seek conference in Salt Lake City, and we had a booth for vocations, and that was probably one of the most common questions I got, which is, tell me about your charism. Now, before we even do that, what is a charism? What do I mean by that? A charism is a gift of life from the Holy Spirit given to individuals or to a group of people, how they are to live out the gospel in a special way in their lives. Individuals can receive it. Gifts of charism can include things such as ability to teach well, words of wisdom, to be one who is always helping others, one who lives voluntary poverty. Those are examples of charisms. But communities and religious orders also have charisms, the way in which they live out the apostolic life, the way they live out the gospel. So I wanted to share with you briefly, what are the charisms of Benedictine monks? And in a special way, what are the charisms of St. Vincent Benedictine monks? For Benedictines in general, there's not a set list of what our charisms are. And if you look it up, you might actually get different answers from different places based on different communities or different monastic authors. But I would say that boiling it down, I see 4 core charisms of Benedictine monasticism. First of all is the charism of hospitality. Hospitality, the ability or the desire to greet other people and to bring them in, draw them into a community, make them feel at home and welcome, take care of them as you would a family member or someone you love, or as St. Benedict says in the rule, care for them as if they were Christ himself. That Benedictines have, from our foundation, thrived at taking care of guests, taking care of those who come to visit us, who need maybe retreat, maybe to escape. St. Benedict founded the order as a desire to kind of escape the hedonism and the bureaucracy of the Roman Empire. So we understand that other people also need to experience that getting away, and to feel loved and supported by others, and to be seen as Christ, to be cared for, right? Jesus says, whatever you did for the least of my brethren, you did for me. Benedictines live out that verse in our whole life, so that if anyone comes to a Benedictine monastery, one of the first things they should experience is a feeling of being at peace and at home, welcomed by many monks. We have a guest master, one whose singular job is to take care of those who come to visit. I personally know this firsthand, having come to visit the school, St. Vincent College, and immediately experienced the hospitality of the whole place that permeated through campus due to the presence of the monks. And my family was taken care of by food and from the monks, and a very nice room, so many things. We want to treat you as Christ. Number 2 is discipline. Now, I'm not saying other religious orders aren't disciplined, but Benedict is very clear that a monk's life must be structured and ordered very definitively, ordered around prayer, which is the heart of all of monastic life. But the work that we do is guided by those set moments of prayer. And we must keep to that horarium or schedule with discipline in order to not live our own will, not do what I want to do with my time or I want to do with my life, but rather do what God and this community desires me to do. St. Benedict says in the rule that when a monk enters the monastery and takes vows, he lets go of everything he has, including even the right of his own body, so that it becomes at the disposal of the community, who is in turn at the disposal of God. So we are disciplined in both how we take care of our bodies and how we take care of our daily tasks, but disciplined in every minute of our life. We're called to, that is. We're not all great at this. I know I have times where I'm definitely not the most disciplined individual. But as a community, it's the movement of the Spirit to constantly keep to our task of the day, so that when the time comes to pray, we are present and we are there. So that prayer strengthens us to work, and work brings our prayer to others. And that only happens when we're disciplined in our daily routine. And another charism kind of flows out of that, which is the charism of work. Now, again, other communities don't just sit around doing nothing, right? But the specific work that Benedictines live as a charism is the work for the care of the community. Because other religious orders, their work might be more focused on going out, taking care of other people, maybe preaching or ministering, taking care of the poor and the sick. And monks do that as well. But our first work is for the support of our brothers, so that I don't do my own will, but the will of this community as they discern from God. Now, that doesn't mean I'm a puppet, right? There's discernment in what the abbot asks me to do and what the community wants me to do to support it. But I am assigned work, and that work is sanctified not necessarily because of what it is, but because of the love that we put into it, so that the most menial task you might have can be transformed into a work of love because of the devotion, the joy, and the grace through God working in you that you put into it. So we try to transform work so it's not just a task and a job, but is truly a prayer. So that the words ora et labora, which you might hear as a motto of Benedictine monasticism, the word ora is in the word labora. That means that our work is actually itself also prayer. And a fourth charism of Benedictines is that of stability. Now, stability is actually a vow we take, and you can check out a video I share about what it means to live a vow of stability. But as a charism, I see it as living the life of what it says in the second chapter of Acts, that the apostles and the community of early believers sold everything they had, laid it at the feet of the apostles, and they shared all things in common. And that they prayed together, broke bread together. Everything was done together. And monasticism, everything is done together, not just as a community, but as a particular community. Because stability roots us to a particular place. I am a monk of St. Vincent exclusively, not of anywhere else. My vows of Benedictine monasticism are made to St. Vincent. And that special living out of the early church's life in a particular way is a calling of the Spirit to minister to my brothers here and for them to minister to me. That my vocation only makes sense in the context of this community. And that God called me to this time and place because these were the people he saw that I needed to go to heaven. And I was part of their journey to heaven as well. So stability. Now, those are four charisms I see as particular to all Benedictines. But there are two that are also specific to St. Vincent, and those are teaching and pastoring. So when Boniface Wimmer, our founder, came over from Bavaria in 1846, he came with a specific purpose to educate and to pastor the German Catholics of Western Pennsylvania, who were really not being ministered to particularly well. It wasn't the fault of anyone specifically, but with the growing diocese, the growing number of people coming, the farmers of Western Pennsylvania were kind of neglected. So when he came out here with a mission. And that mission was really the movement of the Spirit within him to live the apostolic life. is charisms. So teaching is a charism, to pass on the faith, to pass on knowledge, to pass on truth to the next generation, so that not only do they believe up here in their mind, but they believe in their heart what is true. So we are in charge of a seminary, a college, and down in Savannah, Georgia at our priory, a military high school. Because we want to bring our experience and knowledge and love of God through our education to all, so that those who receive teaching from us don't just receive some kind of head knowledge, but they receive a heart as well. And finally, at St. Vincent, we have the charism of pastoring, of taking care of God's children as pastors of parishes, as hospital chaplains, like I am, a campus minister for the college students. St. Paul says in Ephesians chapter 4 that some are called to be apostles, some evangelists, others shepherds and teachers. Well, here at St. Vincent, those two ministries are very apparent, and our shepherding is in going to the individual. We don't just go to the collective, we go to the individual for the encounter. A pastoring charism is one that sees the individual and sees Christ in them and wants to minister to them. So the ones that are the least of our brethren, the littlest ones, to give a cup of water to, what they need. And I think we do that here very, very well. In our hospitality of greeting people, we don't just invite them, and we don't just give them a place to stay and food to eat. We also give them a place for their soul to rest, to guide them. We pastor not just physically, but also spiritually, in spiritual direction. Two of our monks are particularly famous for that. Father Boniface Hicks and Father Thomas Acklin are famous for their spiritual direction, which is in a way a type of pastoring. So, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something a little bit about charisms of monks and the charisms of St. Vincent. If you did, please give this video a like, share it with someone, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we have a lot of fun things coming your way. Thank you for joining me. I'm Brother Francisco. Have a wonderful day. God bless.